Hey there, everybody. It's Habbage. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bit of a rush job here. As you guys can see, the game is still minimized in the background. We're going to pop that up here real quick. I want to get going. It is Saturday morning in my world, my timeline, if you will. All of you interdimensional travelers. All right, do one more check here, and then we're getting going here. Um, So thanks so much for tuning in. It's fairly early in my day. I just got going a little bit. I got a big old fresh cup of coffee here, and want to get that down because I am going out for fun and adventures on Saturday in the daytime. So I want to get something up. Now I may be back um, afternoon, evening. We'll see how the events unfold, and definitely plan on doing some content tomorrow, Father's Day. Um, So look forward to that. But for the moment, and as always, we've got stuff to do. What is that stuff, you may wonder? Well, we want to try, if we can, to get back to our mine. And we were kind of laughing and joking about that a little bit. I think, where's our, oh, we're still got our spyglass. I think maybe that is our beginning. It doesn't look exactly right. Maybe up there. It was by the river. I went and did some checking um, in the previous one of the previous videos after I finished up recording the last one. And the good news is I had pulled up like an F3 screen and looked a little bit. The bad news, of course, is I didn't make any note of that. One was like 19,000 something, and something. So I don't know that that's going to be a huge help. What I do recall as I was going down, uh, we had just crossed a river and we were looking at one of these big mountains. So I'm kind of hoping this is the river. And here we go. So that was it. Good, good, good. No problem. I know you guys were all worried we were never going to see it again, but don't you worry your little heads. We got this. All right, so we're going to. Oh man, we're kind of jammed up here. I guess that underwater stuff. Let me get a sip here. Wowza, that's hot. Woo! As I said, a little bit of a rush. I got a buddy coming over here in about hour and 15 minutes, and you guys know me and my propensity for not keeping these short as I sometimes intend, and we definitely need to do that on this one, if not stay a little shorter than even normal. Did you see those expert skills? Have we even been back this far? Ooh, copper. I like that the immediate response. Am I getting coppers? Okay. The immediate response to copper in the game is that everybody is using the copper, see the old gangstery voice, and I don't know how true it is if this was the original source or not, but I remember back to the early days of Hermitcraft and Jenny B and B Dub uh, doing the whole. I don't even remember what season it was, but doing the whole like mobster organization. They'd run around and record everything with their old 40s gangster voices, and just great stuff. So that's fun, and it again, I don't know. I don't want to attribute other people to it, and it doesn't get cited too often, but I kind of imagine because of the huge popularity when Hermitcraft came out. And again, this is where I wonder if it's just bias because I watched it. But when Hermitcraft was a new deal, people just weren't familiar with this idea of content being created in a server environment. And so it was amazing to see these worlds, and they're still awesome. Don't get me wrong, but they certainly have evolved a little bit in terms of there are so many now, so many different styles, and how Minecraft, how uh, how like mini games, I guess. Oh, was that as we came up in the ocean? I don't even remember getting on the sack. Anyway, goodness, we don't have any wood stuff at the moment. I'll just load up. Oh, here we go again. That's a lot of iron ore. Look at all that coal. Good stuff. Okay, but we do need to do one of those. Man, those are consumables. I think I don't remember. What do we do with the torches again? Let's get some of those while we're here. You go away. This is the new lime. And, oh, while we're here. Wrong one. Not really what I needed, I don't think. This is what I needed. The water is, I know I'm standing right next to it, so that makes part of the deal. What I was looking to see, I think we still have coal, right? No. Is that right? How did we go through so much stuff? Well, did I put it in here? There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. It's a little bit of a sidetrack, and now that we've got boxes everywhere. Okay, this one is retired and done. And, I guess we should have kind of put the fortune pick away, but yeah, not too big a deal. Somehow I managed to keep stone out. That was good. Okay, so we're going to go like that, like that. did seem to get down below a bit. Missed out on some of that coal. That's alright though. We'll get it eventually. I don't know that we're going to just, well, maybe we'll just pillar back up there quick. Get it. There's so much goodies here though. And this is one of the parts I love about the cave and mines and all that kind of stuff is you can come and do just a little quick episode. Like, hey, I'm gonna go as far as I can. I'm gonna watch the clock. When it starts getting tight, I'm just gonna wrap up. We don't. There's not so much a beginning and an end, and we got we're building on something. We want to get this far for this episode. So that's kind of nice in today's current situation is I can just go until I don't have time anymore and then get going. Again, this one should be fairly quick for any of you guys that like the little bit faster episodes. I know that's, for some people, that's a real thing. They really much prefer to be able to bounce in and bounce out. And so for me, someone who has actually really, over the years, enjoyed. And don't get me wrong, I watch a bunch of quick videos, and for some of you guys, this is gonna sound really kind of like, oh yeah, you guys, I'm gonna do what I want, but you guys should do this. For other people, like when I see your comments and stuff, or see that somebody new has dropped by and their comments seem to indicate that that they've also got content, or either way, just surprise when you take the time to leave me a comment or anything like that. I'm coming back. I'm gonna take the time to click on your name and see if you have any content in YouTube. You gotta be logged in for anybody who hasn't commented yet. So you got, and that was a big problem for me for a long time. I didn't bother to have my account logged in for YouTube on my PlayStation, which is where I watch a lot of videos, or Roku for that matter. Part just kind of lazy ignorance, like why would I bother? It wasn't that big a deal to me, and part of it was just a little bit of like how I didn't know anything about how those were going, and this was kind of as I was getting started with Twitch. More than anything to do with YouTube specifically. I just didn't bother with YouTube. At the time, I didn't really see much point. I would, for content creators that I was a big fan of and really, getting into stuff, I would do the likes and the subscribes and stuff off a laptop. I didn't hit likes as much as I probably should have to, kind of help them in the algorithms and whatnot, but I did, I missed all those. I would go back and subscribe from my laptop when, I was between videos or whatever, and I kind of felt like, all right, well, at least with my laptop, I know my system security and all that kind of stuff. I'm pretty confident that just being logged in through YouTube on my system isn't gonna, potentially have identity stuff. And I'm not worried about the tracking and all that kind of stuff. I mean, yeah, it actually kind of helps. Kind of not to have a bunch of video game videos or content in your browser history, because they do all feed off each other, and everybody likes to freak out and say, "Oh, that's so Big Brother and all that." Well, yeah, but people also clearly like the convenience of having their content or their recommendations customized to them. So as much as we don't want Big Brother, whether it's in the form of Amazon or Google or anybody else, buying and selling our personal preference or viewing history and all that kind of stuff, data, we like the result of it. I mean, that's why it's still there. If it was as malicious as everybody likes to make it out to be, we would immediately be hands in the air going, no, this is crazy. Now the part where my knowledge of history, come on, and some of that actually makes it scary, is not that Google understands, if you talk to your pet dog, Google is going to associate that to you are a dog owner and you're going to get more PetSmart ads. That kind of stuff is not scary to me at all. I can see why it's at times it's a bit inconvenient or just overwhelming, but it's really a service. Whether you find it tedious or not, it's actually a service because you're getting dog food ads, and if you have a pet, that's more helpful than getting ads from retirement agencies, or not agencies so much as like financial planners and that kind of stuff. If you're still in high school, doesn't it's not a very well suited ad. So, as scary sounding as it may be, I don't think it's that big a deal. What is much more scary is once there's that record, or once it becomes common enough that you kind of don't think about who's got that access and who's doing it. Well, it doesn't take that much, and through history, when changes to things like freedom of speech happen, they happen quickly, and it's usually under different circumstances. And I'm not, again, I don't really play for a political team or anything like that. I'm not out here going, oh yeah, it's got to be this, it's got to be that. What I'm saying is, if you think back to things like the French and Russian revolutions, times when governments change, or turbulent things happen, or in the midst of wars when all of a sudden there's threats. I mean, think of the U.S. government in World War II, and Japanese internment, some of those kind of things. We, with the happiness of having won the war and looking back on it 80 years later, we can look down our noses at everybody and say, well, they were so ignorant, how could they have done that? But the fact of the matter was, there was, and it's not even a concept that I think a lot of people are as familiar with here in the United States at a younger age anymore, but the idea of state invested full and total war, as was the case in the Great War and the Second World War. Now we view it through limited engagement type wars, and the ideas of going into a trouble spot in the world, and using coalitions and things like that to try to affect minimally invasive solutions. And you guys can all have your opinions. There are lots of channels out there where people like to talk about that kind of stuff, and rage over the merits or injustice of any particular engagement in conflict. There will always be that, and we live in a free country where we're able to do that without it being held against us, and encouraged to have differing opinions, no matter what we may be told by the media. We are allowed to have discourse and have conversations, and that's a wonderful thing. Always protect that, and don't try to restrict out um, others' viewpoints if they just don't happen to align with your own. That doesn't mean that they're bad people, and it doesn't mean that they or you are necessarily wrong. It's okay to have multiple viewpoints and ideas, and understand that it doesn't have to be one way or the other. It can be a combination of both with compromise and all those kinds of words. But anyway, I didn't mean to spend our little bit of time here today hashing over politics or anything. What I was just trying to say is, that's the scary part to me of Google and browsing histories and all those kind of things when I, been logged in, and gets associated back to movies and all that, is can that change at some point in the future? Can it get to a point where all of a sudden what you thought was just innocent, who cares kind of stuff becomes something that could then be used to be held against you? And honestly, if we get to that point, I don't think it's really going to matter too much, because we will have already, lost basic freedoms. But the other part, and this is kind of the sad state of the commentary of our culture, is almost all of the feedback there, or the fear about privacy and all that. Look, most of it comes from guys, and they're worried about their particular entertainment sites and preferences coming to light. I mean, that's what it is, and it's look, do what you want to do. That's my deal. My take is kind of, and it's another part of why I enjoy streaming here. It's like, well, you got to be so careful about what you say. You don't want to offend anybody. No, if you're not comfortable having your ideas or thoughts heard or seen, then maybe you should rethink why you're holding them, right? If extreme example here, right? And I'm not saying that this happens or anything, but if you think that your particular race, whatever it is superior to all others, and you like to chat about that with like-minded people, but you've heard and are somehow smart enough, despite that, to get the idea that maybe you shouldn't post that. Okay, well that's good advice. You would get canceled so fast and run out of any public type forum if you were putting that kind of trash out for public consumption. Oh boy, that it would be pretty laughable. But the point that I would say is, if you can appreciate that people don't want to hear that, and would get up in arms about it, maybe you should rethink why you feel that way, right? Maybe there's a reason for that. And that's somewhat mob mentality, and I don't like that part of it. I don't think that you should give up dissenting opinions, whatever they are, just because they're unpopular. But there is something to be said, and I think it was maybe a coach or something like that who just said, you can do and say whatever you want, but make sure if your grandma knows what it is that you're doing, that she's okay with it too. And it's such a good point. It doesn't have to be a grandma or anybody, but somebody that's respected and that you care about, who has your best interests at heart, and make sure that the way that you conduct yourself isn't offensive. It wouldn't be shocking, wouldn't be something that you would otherwise, oh, nice, would otherwise hide from them. Um, that's all I'm thinking there is you can all of a sudden then Google and integrating all those kind of things becomes much less of a concern. And for my part, the concerns that I had about like identity theft and some of those kind of things, particularly when um, I was planning to start, at some point making these videos. I knew that was something I was interested in doing. I was worried, like, okay, well, if I'm set up there, then will that get back? Will that become a searching point for others on PlayStations or whatever that could eventually be set up? Because when I first set up my PlayStation, the YouTube account and everything I had was pulled out of Google and had was an old Google login that had my pretty close to my personal stuff in it. So that's all been modified too. That's the other piece I would say is um, probably not a bad idea to just use a login like Habbage, right? That you can stick with. It's not something that is trying to be cool in the moment, right? It's the name. When I chose the name, it's not something popularity based or media based, right? Like if I said, oh, I am. I don't even know. Well, I don't think you guys will know it as well. So let's say Aaron Rodgers, right? MVP of the NFL last season, Green Bay Packer quarterback. And if I said I'm Aaron Rodgers' number one fan, that A. Rodgers' greatest fan became my login because at age 12 or whatever, whenever I first got on, I guess 13, because that's as old as it can be, or 14, 15, whatever. At that age, that was a really important thing to me, and in that moment. But you know, he's going to retire. Even more importantly, sometimes those teams will move out. I don't think the Green Bay Packers are going anywhere. They're very successful and popular in the area, and they happen to be owned as a shareholder group in Wisconsin. So those fans are not going to be held hostage to build a new stadium or anything like that, and keep them in the area that way. Rather, they are going to eventually see it, and that's kind of what's going on right now, and that's why I said his name. Whether it's legitimate or not or anything comes to pass, um, at least at the moment, a lot of the buzz is about whether or not Aaron Rodgers will remain a Bronco. And sometimes those splits when they happen between athletes and communities or teams that are based in those communities, those become every bit as nasty as a real um, divorce or any other separation. You and your best friend or something get in a fight and uh, stop talking for years. Maybe you never resolve things, which is always sad. But hey, it's part of life. You can't overly try to lock in and never change things. You got to grow and adapt, and that's cool. But anyway, if you create a handle, whether it's for YouTube or Google or anything else that is tied into momentary stuff like that, it's one going to potentially be something you're no longer proud to associate with at at a future date. But it also kind of shows your age and interest at the time. And a lot of people roll through identities, and getting started. Don't let that be a barrier. Like, oh, I can't get going because I can't think of a name that's something I could keep using for a long time. Um, it's it's maybe better to get something going, try it out. Don't do what I do in these cases where I have kind of kept all my early mistakes and attempts on display for everyone um, as I begin to do this. That's something I'm comfortable with, but I know a lot of other people wouldn't necessarily be. So, um, you know, pal, uh, so don't prevent yourself from getting started, putting yourself out there just because you don't have the perfect name. But for me, Habbage was one that I was like, yeah, that's actually pretty fitting. It's something that I like. It's importantly, um, it's not all over in the internet, right? It's made, it's kind of made up, but it's a contraction of two common words, right? And oh, that was kind of fun. A little excitement to start our day. Oh, I'm not drinking enough of this coffee. All right, hold on. Much less Bernie. All right. Yeah, I got to kind of focus on that since I'm using coffee time to chat with you guys here. So no, yeah, contractions work good, right? They take common and familiar stuff, and while not being an actual word that people would use, I hope people can kind of make the link of ham and cabbage to habbage. It has a little bit of a ring to it, and it is not offensive, I hope. If you're offended by habbage, sorry. No offense intended. I do, I appreciate that dietarily, some people are not down with pork, and ham being a pork product. That's a consideration. But again, no. Sometimes you have to take people at their word and understand that in my background and growing up, there's no problem with ham, and I'm not trying to project a message that ham should be eaten. If any message, it's take breaks, right? You guys know it. Don't watch endless days and hours of digital content without getting up and giving your eyes and brain a chance to break. A chance to break. Don't break your eyes or your brain. Do give your body a chance to get up, move around, and all that good stuff between episodes. Let's go here. Kind of like to do a quick unload here because we've got plenty of action going on. Now the sand, maybe I should save that for the desert temple-y blue stuff. Yeah, why not? We'll just do this right. Well, torches go so fast down here. It's always surprising how quick this one, right? I don't even know if we have one stack. Good thing we know we've got some more coal ready to go. And coal being what we're here for, this is good opportunity. So yeah, Habbage. Habbage is what I came up with. For anybody, we haven't really talked about this kind of stuff in quite a while. Um, yeah, another big part of uh, my streaming and something I'd maybe like to explore more once I get going on some live content is it fits into those breaks and things like that. And that's trying to stay active, getting the most out of life, and how the way we view our own lives and the challenges and things that we have confronting us um, affect our success in that. So I'd love to share some of that, and Habbage fits in with that because my enjoyment of, I guess, my discovery of how to make, and not that it's some mad scientist concoction or anything, but throwing ham and cabbage in the slow cooker is not the. Maybe that gives you guys a pretty good idea of my culinary abilities, but um, I there was a point in my life where I had to get to. I I should be doing more cooking. Um, I'm trying to take the lazy way out too often. With pre-packaged and heat and serve meals kind of stuff. Um, and I was suffering all the expected results of that. Weight creeping up and some of the other, uh, just longer term higher blood pressure, higher blood sugar, all those kind of things all can creep up on you, and you things you don't worry about at all in your 20s start to show up later in life. And another one that I don't think people think about too much, or now it's certainly a bigger deal and more in mind of people is skin cancer, right? When you're young, and it used to just be much more accepted. When I was a kid, we had the double punches of the science talking about the holes in the ozone layer, which, by the way, remember holes in the ozone and how huge a deal that was? And sometimes when you hear some of the news, and again, don't discredit scientists. They are professional, smart people that are trying to improve the world through their research and their projects and stuff. So don't discredit any of that kind of stuff, but understand that some of those things get skewed, either media-wise or by politicians, people that want to use information to shape public policy or any of those kind of ideas. And I'm not debating it. We all know that we live in a changing world and that human beings have an effect through our lives, and the fact that we shape our environment to make life better, we do have an effect on the world. It's indisputable. Wow, you guys, a little creeper bath down there. Um, but whether that is unprecedented to the point that the world is beyond uh, recuperating itself, or whether that is a larger natural process that we're just not as familiar with, I think is still an open topic for debate. I don't think you can just close that out and be like, okay, well, the world is trash, because for one thing, the the same thing that you guys use as clickbait or may in videos where and hey man, I do it too. Sometimes you guys don't know when I put up a thumbnail or whatever, I'm trying to trying to make whatever that is interesting. So, did we survive a raid? Right? I may tongue in cheek, just in the comments, be like, "Oh yeah, it gets real nasty in the raid." I want you guys to come and see if if it didn't, particularly if we have near death. Let's hype that up. Well, same thing goes with otherwise dry scientific reports. If you apply the context with which they may have relevancy, in other words, hey, we're noticing that global temperatures are changing, and then to inform your audience, you kind of list some ways that could potentially impact your life. So yeah, we notice that temperatures are changing. That could have an effect on escalating instability of weather patterns, crop failures, sea level, all that good stuff. So all those get included, but you may limit a little bit of the context and all that kind of stuff that comes through, and that's how when there's policies being presented that we have to get rid of all old cars or anything like that because science, right? And then the next thing you know, it's something else that must be done. Sometimes that's getting used to just push, monetary or whatever other kinds of policies, um, because it's right to be alarmed and concerned. We got to take care of this planet. So I think it's okay to be environmentally minded, conservative, a conservationist, um, in the midst of both progress and not. But it doesn't mean that every single person that uses that has purely environmental motives in mind. And man, this has been an ironic, swirling kind of topic to run on. But the other, man, no, I just lost whatever it was. I was laughing about it. I don't know what on earth was I? As you guys know, there's rarely a deep point. But with the names and everything. So yeah, make make names that will have lasting impact, but not trap you into anything. Because whether you make it big or not, or particularly if you do at some point get a large loyal fan base, yes, you can put a mention out there that I am going to, update the name. It's going to be this going forward. Please come check me out. The bottom line is people don't necessarily do that. And you're giving up a lot of hard work, or the results of a lot of hard work, just to get a different name and handle. You probably won't have to start from zero again, right? There will be people who will follow you to your new identity, but you'll lose a bunch of the casual viewers and people that may not check every day, may not have a subscribe, may not get that update, and they'll just kind of see that your channel went idle and eventually lose interest. So again, that's my take on my habit. It's something I don't think I am going to outgrow at any point. I'm not going to stop liking liking good slow cooked food, and I'm not ever going to be embarrassed by the idea that I would refer to myself as such or be known as that. So yeah, that's a little bit of the take. We are once again jammed up. Now I have a wider variety of stuff, of course. Oh, it's good to. I mean, look at all this coal again. And each time we say that, we're like, oh, yeah, we're going to have so much when we get back. And I'm kind of gun shy of it now because I have seen so many times that we get back and we use it all up. And then it goes into by the time you make it into blocks and put it in the ovens, it's gone. It's like, where did it all go? I thought we had a lot. You need a lot. But this should definitely get us into having a bit of surplus as opposed to just having barely enough to fit in. And like I said, I'd like to have some loose piece coal around as well. Um, for torches and all that kind of stuff. And that's pretty. We've usually kept a couple stacks, but that would be nice to have enough in our blocks. Blocks of coal supply to then have like half a chest or something of just loose coal too that is ready if we need it for quick cooking or torches primarily along the way. So what all have we learned here today? First is take breaks, right? It's going to be the main reminder. Um, but in addition to that, um, don't don't be resistant or create reasons not to put yourself out there and get visible. Be be focused more on content and activities and topics that you're proud to be associated with. And again, this is maybe older me talking to all of you guys. So hey, take it with a grain of salt. I've been around the block a couple times. I've got some personal experience that I'm speaking to here. Others may have experience that counters it. But um, oh boy, I do. Of course. Oh man. Oh, that looks so cool. Again, I still a little torn on the deep slate. I like it, but because of the ores, really. I'm holding an ore grudge against these guys. All that just having dual stacks and just kind of trolling in the player inventory space. Leaves a bad taste. I'm not going to lie. Okay, anyway, so yeah, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And if you're not just trying to go to the lowest possible denominator and you're not just trying to shock people into viewing you, you'll do very well. I think, and if nothing else, my very limited success in terms of getting. Stop blowing up! Getting visibility out there, view counts and those kind of things. Yeah, I'm still new to this. I'm still getting started. Have reasonable expectations. You shouldn't expect to have hundreds of people viewing within the first couple days. It's just not realistic. And if you're trying to do that, then you're probably cutting corners. And if you then think about, what's my motivation? What am I doing here? Is it trying to make a quick buck or something like that? Because this is not a good business model, right? It's definitely a highly saturated space. These business term. You're not filling a vacant niche. You're trying to jam yourself into one that is already crowded and getting more so every day. I mean, here I am, right? I'm just throwing up videos and talking and hoping to connect with people. But that's more content. And as much as I love you guys dropping by, I know, to watch me, there's a finite amount of hours out there for anybody to watch anything. So if there's nothing else I can say from the bottom of my heart, it's that I do really appreciate all of that attention that you guys uh, have paid me. Here we go. Sorry. Like I said, plan text. Um, all right. So I think that's gonna pretty well do us up. I don't know exactly which way we'd been going. I'd like to get like on the brink of a bigger area. Here we go. Okay, so this is a good spot to park. We're gonna save and quit. So yeah, a little random. I think somehow we got into talking about how I picked the name Habbage, and that's a little bit of it. I don't know that I completed too well, but again, this is a pretty quick episode. We're at about 52 minutes, but I've got to get going. Um, keep tuning in. Keep watching. Share your thoughts and comments in the down below the video there. I would love to get your take. What are your motivations when you guys create content, or what are things that you're worried about? Maybe that keep you from getting started. All those kind of things. I'd be fascinated to get your guys' take on as well. That's a part of the dialogue, and through YouTube, we're really limited to comments and things, but hey, that's a lot more than people have had in the past, so we'll make full use of it if we can. Um, I'm like in Notepad trying to find the thank you slide. I said it just a moment ago, but I can't emphasize enough how meaningful it is, and this is yet another reason why, if you guys are wondering about it, definitely do throw some videos up there and see, because at some point it really hits. Aside from bots and things like that, there are real people out there that are taking real time out of their day to watch and hopefully enjoy what you're creating, and that means so much to me. And I really think it means so much to any of the creators out there, whether they state it or share it well or not. There's a deeper thing than just a number when it comes to people wanting to make your gameplay or your commentary or any of that kind of stuff a part of their day. So thank you guys for making me a part of yours. Do get out there, I hope, on a weekend day like this. I hope your weather's such that you want to get out and enjoy it. And if that is the case, have a wonderful time. Like I said, I may be back this evening. If not, I'll get you guys another video out there tomorrow, at least one. So we'll see you all then. Take care of yourselves and take care of one another. But as always, stay those awesome people that you are. Can't wait to see you next time. Bye now.